So if you haven't received it, make sure that you are included in the list that was used to send out these. And therefore, I don't propose to go through the whole thing. You can ask me specific questions on these. I just wanted to make sure that we put in context. Sometimes numbers are thrown out and a number of production of various things are thrown out, infrastructure that we have built or commissioned, and we don't put it in context. And so the agriculture sector in 2012 continued to work on certain of its mandate. One of the mandate remains, and the major mandate remains, preserving and strengthening food security. Guyana's food security issue is not finding enough calories. Indeed, the average caloric intake of a Guyanese citizen is presently about 3,000 calories per day, which exceeds the WHO recommendation of 2,200 calories. This is a phenomenon we see throughout the Caribbean, in Barbados, in the Bahamas, in Trinidad, in Jamaica, in Cuba, in Suriname. In our case, food security focus on ensuring that it is the right calories, not just enough calories, because micronutrients, etc., must be within the diet. So the agriculture sector is mandated to ensure. It is to also ensure a diversity. Guyanese having an option and not eating the same thing all the time. And so our food security mandate is different from some countries where it is still focused on finding enough calories. A second mandate is to ensure that we reduce the food bill from imported goods. And Guyana continues to import food at a rate of approximately $225 per capita. Indeed, the Caribbean today ranks as the region in the world with the highest imported food bill. And as part of the JAGDEO initiative, Guyana is one of those countries that is providing leadership in reducing imports from outside the region. And whatever we do, that is a mandate. A third mandate is to increase export of food. Obviously, we produce more food than we could ever eat. We only eat about 20,000 tons of rice. We produce over 400,000 tons. And so, for much of the food we produce, we have to find export markets. And that's one of the mandates of the agriculture sector, to add to the export portfolio of Guyana. Another mandate, a newer mandate of the agriculture sector, is to add an agro-fuel industry. And in 2012, we made the greatest advance in developing an agro-fuel industry for Guyana. And another mandate now, a newer mandate, it's not into For the last decade, we've been trying to ensure value added in the agriculture sector, not only to produce raw material, but to also add an agro-processing capacity to the sector so that there is value added both for the farmers selling locally and for our export products. But these were the overall mandates, of course creating employment too. And so in whatever I say, it is within these contexts. Ladies and gentlemen, the agriculture sector will fail if it does not build a proper infrastructure. And therefore there was a lot of focus in 2012, continued focus on building the infrastructure. We are about to commission a new rice seed factory at number 56 Village under Quarantine. That facility has been constructed and construction has been completed. Some electrical connections have to be made to some of the machinery, and this has to be done by a company from Colombia. Soon after the holidays they will be here, and I expect to commission the rice seed factory at number 56 Village. This factory, when it is fully operational, will be able to produce 20,000 bags of pure rice seeds. And I emphasize that, of pure rice seeds. As you know, Guyana requires, for the production capacity that exists now, approximately 180,000 bags of rice seeds to sustain the rice industry at its present level of production. If the level of production is expanded, we will need more than 180,000 bags. The 20,000 bags capacity that this factory has is per crop, so that for the year it will be able to produce 40,000 bags of rice seed, pure rice seed. We already have at Mars, at the Rice Research Center, a facility that produces pure rice seeds. That has a capacity to produce 10,000 bags per crop. And so between the two, when number 56 becomes fully operational, and to produce 20,000 bags, it will become fully operational by the second crop of 2013. It means that when the two facilities are working together, they will have a total capacity of about 60,000 bags. And Guyana needs 180,000 bags. The rest of it comes from the farmers themselves. When the farmers do this, there is no guarantee that they are producing pure rice seeds. And this is an important point because, as you know, we have been producing better yielding quality, but to maintain the better yield, we will also have to maintain the purity of the varieties. And that is why the government of Guyana has been focusing on building these rice seed facilities. So this is a very important development. For example, the aromatic rice variety that was introduced, in order to maintain that as a Guyana brand, we will have to be very diligent in maintaining the fidelity of the variety. So it has to remain pure. And this is where the seed factories will become critical. Indeed, since I'm on that aromatic rice, we are presently working with 25 farmers in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to increase the production of the aromatic rice and to continue its testing in farmers' field under different conditions. That's why all of the rice producing region. The only other thing I would say about rice, I think you know the production number, is that we hope that Santa Fe in Region 9 will have large-scale production of rice in Region 9 for 2013. This is outside of the small production that we do at Mokomoko. Mokomoko, the production has been mainly to supply some rice for Region 9, but the Santa Fe production will move it to commercial production way beyond the needs of Region 9. A second infrastructure development that I want to emphasize is the commissioning of the artificial insemination laboratory at Mon Repos earlier this year. This year we have successfully completed artificial insemination and 548 animals were produced through the artificial insemination program. Presently, we have, for 2012, we imported 14,000 straws of purebred semen from the United States of America. It is these purebred semen that we use in the artificial insemination program across Guyana. Much of the animals that we use in the artificial insemination program are Creole animals, and therefore, whilst it's purebred semen, we have an improved breed of animal through the combination of Guyanese Creole animals and purebred imported semen. These semen cost us between 20 and 30 US dollars per straw. And like one experience in different developing countries, the success rate is approximately 20 to 30%, because it depends on a number of things. It doesn't help that sometimes our local farmers, after they would have had their animals subjected to an artificial insemination, then sell it off for slaughtering. Which is why, as Minister of Agriculture, I wasn't trying to be unkind or not generous when I was placing restriction on slaughtering of female animals at the slaughterhouse. Because if we're going to build the stock, we can't kill off the animals that we have to use for breeding. We have also introduced embryo transfer. And this year we completed 31 embryo transfer with the assistance of an international consultant whilst training our local veterinarians to do embryo transfer. This is where we actually take an embryo, a purebred embryo, from an animal or that was produced in the United States of America, and bring it and use our local animal as a surrogate mother. So that local animal contributes nothing to the genetics of the animal. We merely use the local animal as a surrogate mother. And so this is going to see an increase in 2013. And thirdly, we continue our improved breeding program by importing. As you know, this year we imported 33 bulls. And as we speak, preparation for the shipping of 66 heifer from the United States of America are underway. And so we'd have both bulls and heifer. The bulls are not only being used directly, will be used directly with these heifer, but also with the local Guyanese animals. So we've been distributing these bulls in farms around the country, the physical contact with the animals. But we are going to harvest semen from these bulls, so that instead of importing the semen, we will be cultivating our own semen in our artificial insemination laboratory. And so this is why that laboratory has been upgraded with new equipment, training our veterinarians, and also we are about to award a contract for the construction of a new animal health laboratory or veterinary laboratory at Monrepo. In 2012, we expanded the pumping capacity in the country. Guyana has 126 pumps that presently operate across the country. The NDIE operates 48 of those 126 pumps. 5 of those pumps are operated by the municipality. And I am disappointed that every time the rainy season comes, a minimum of 3 of those 5 are not operational. You should know that 3 of those 5 pumps are presently, for various reasons, not operating. Sometimes for simple things like not having the particular kind of oil, vacuum oil, lubricating oil that it needs. We are adding 14 new pumps to bring that number up to 140. We fully procured these in 2012, and presently 6 of those pumps, which will be mobile pumps, are on its way to Guyana from Miami. 8 fixed site pumps were procured, and those are being prepared in India for shipment to Guyana. These will be located at certain sites. Among the sites, for the first time, Pine Ground in Maikoni will have a fixed site pump. A second site that will have a fixed site pump for the first time will be Crabwood Creek. And a fixed site pump that used to be at Rosal Camp, that sometime in the 1980s was abandoned, is now going to be recited there. In addition, A new fixed site pump will be located at Canal Polder 2. There's already a pump there, but a new canal that will add capacity at canal number 2 is being constructed, and a new pump site will be located at canal number 2. And a new pump site with a sluice and a new canal is being built coming through Joanna in Blackbush Polder to Bengal on the Quarantine coast. In addition to that, the design work and the hydrology studies for the Aurora housing scheme were completed in 2012. And in 2013, 5,500 acres or hectares of new land will become available in Region 2. There were a number of other notable infrastructure development programs, but I've listed those in what was submitted to all of you, and I will just leave that. One of the area I would like to highlight, because it doesn't get highlighted, is the coconut industry. The coconut industry is an old industry, but has never really received much attention. And it's a shame, because in my days of growing up, see, coconut was then grown mainly to produce coconut oil, which for some reason became a bad product. You know, across the globe, people said it was bad for your cholesterol and all these type of things. Since then, people have discovered that coconut oil, in fact, has many health attributes, and there is a growing interest in coconut oil globally. But that is not what is attracting interest for Guyana's coconut. There are other things. You should know that Guyana has one of the highest quality coconut in the world. Guyana's coconut kernel, the copra, is one of the thickest in the world. And people have now discovered that. So that Guyana's copra is now one that is extremely attractive on the global market. But Guyana's coconut, for its coconut water, is now in demand throughout the Caribbean. Unfortunately, because the industry didn't get the kind of attention in the 70s and 80s, replanting wasn't done so that our coconut industry have plantations with coconut trees that are 40, 50 years old and will need replacement. Presently, Guyana produces at a level of about 240 million nuts per year. And it has to meet a local demand. This is the corner vendors and so on, of 100,000 nuts per week. It has easily met those demands. But the industry also has an opportunity to use the husk for various things. One is to produce energy. It could add to the agro-fuel industry, but it could be an important part in the production of charcoal, carbon trapping for various kinds of chemicals that are used in industry. And so we are actively pursuing this. There was in December an internal stakeholders meeting to discuss the way forward for this industry. And in January, there will be a open stakeholder meeting to discuss a way forward for the expansion of the coconut industry. And this meeting will not only include all local stakeholders, the private sector included, but it will also include international stakeholders, those persons presently importing coconut and coconut water from Guyana, and the value-added producers. Presently, many in the Caribbean want to import our raw coconut water, and the Ministry of Agriculture is insisting on value-added and for the production of coconut water bottled and canned in Guyana, and not taken abroad for canning. So we are working with various stakeholders. And so in terms of the crop production, I wanted to highlight coconut. I want to also highlight the spice industry. And in 2012, we had an expansion of that. And so you will see the numbers. There are approximately presently 100 acres of land under cultivation for turmeric. There are about let me just get those numbers for you. There are 100 acres of ginger, and 50 acres of turmeric, 5 acres of black pepper, and 1 acre of nutmeg under cultivation, mainly in Region 1, but we are expanding in Region 7 and 8, and in Region 6 and 2, particularly for black pepper. In 2013, we will see a doubling of the acreage for our spice production, as we also add agro-processing facility. And before I leave this area, you will see that our export of agro-processed products, pepper sauce, achar, honey, and so on, would have had a marginal reduction this year, about 2% reduction. But there was not a reduction in production. It is because more of our agro-processors are selling their products on the local market. There is an increase in the utilization of agro-processed product from Guyana. And that has proved to be a lucrative market for our agro-processors. And so there is a competition